Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I am your tutor, Mr. Nivot, and this is the examination-based contact session for English and Academic Communication Skills 1 or EACS11. This is for August 2017 examination. The examinations for 2017, that will be April, August and November, had to be compiled as requested by the IOL office using the following assignments. ACSE, which is the Advanced Certificate in Secondary Education. ACPE, the Advanced Certificate in Senior Primary Education. DPPE, the Diploma in Pre-Primary Education. DJPE, Diploma in Junior Primary Education. BESP, the Bachelor of Education, Senior Primary. DSE, Diploma in Secondary Education. The questions were set up by correlating the questions found in all the assignments and the content from each study guide. The assignments of each course handed in for 2017 must still be used in preparation for the examination throughout the year. It will be wise to get the assignments of all the courses to get acquainted with the content of each assignment. The examination. The following is important information for your upcoming examination. The format of the examination. The duration is 2.5 hours and the paper will be count 120 marks. It is important that you answer all the questions with the subsections. The exam script consists out of the following. Question 1, 20 marks. Question 2, 30 marks. Question 3, also 30 marks. And question 4, 40 marks. The study material for the exam. Your study guide for DPPE, EACS11, the study guides for ACSE, EACS11, and ACPE, EACS11. The study guide for BESP, EACS11, the English Handbook and Study Guide by B. Lutheran, only for DPPE, ACSE, ACPE, BESP students. The new combined IOL study guide for DJPE, EACS, BES, EACS, DSE, EACS11. Understanding the questions. Every part of information can be assessed in a number of different ways. The examination papers are set up in 3 levels. Each question usually starts with a verb, and please pay special attention to these verbs used. These will guide you to what action you are expected to perform. Failing to perform the correct action will result in low marks or the loss of valuable marks. The following are the verbs mainly used for the exam. For level 1, which will consist of 50% of your exam paper, the marks are define, which means give the precise or a brief meaning of something, indicate what features are included or excluded, or describe, provide detailed features of an issue or stages of a process in a logical sequence, using numbers and headings and proper sentences. Identify. That means recognize and name or list the features. To list or state is when you present a list of names or facts, objects, etc. in a certain order. To explain, you have to describe something and indicate relationships between things, making clear the why, the reasons, or how, the examples of features. To summarize, is to give a brief account of the essence of a matter through the main ideas, no details or examples, focusing on connections and meanings. To clarify is to describe something to clear up the meaning or significance. To identify, to recognize and name or list the features. To explain, to describe and indicate relationships between things, making clear the why and how of features. Level 2 is for 40% of the exam paper. The verbs there are demonstrate, perform the necessary operations, or show by example. To propose is to suggest a plan or an idea. To analyze is to examine information in detail to discover the main ideas or the components or the patterns or relationships. Show why they are important and how components are related and what theories they reflect. To discuss, give a clear description and then argue about features by pointing out positive and negative features, arriving at a conclusion. And that one is very important. Level 3 is 10% of the exam paper. The verbs there are evaluate, which is determine the value or the worth or the quality or the success of something according to certain criteria. To compare indicates similarities, resemblances, and differences of phenomena regarding a particular criteria. Draw a conclusion about the similarities and the differences, emphasizing the similarities. Very often a table format is used to compare phenomena. A description of one phenomenon after the other is not a comparison. To argue is to give valid reasons of ideas, of facts and sources. To discuss critically, students have to give a reasoned judgment after carefully weighing the facts, or students have to provide positive and negative points and draw a conclusion. To distinguish is to describe two phenomena, things according to a relevant criteria. Point out clearly the differences between the two sets. To differentiate, show how things are different or opposite regarding particular criteria. Look only for differences, not for similarities too, as in the case of compare. It's very important that all questions consist of facts that you will have to study from your study guide. For the language structured questions, you must understand the spoken and written language. Examination cover page. Under student details, the following information must be filled in: your student number, your surname, your first name, your ID number, and your examination center. The instructions on your cover page. Read the general instructions and examination instructions carefully and ensure that you know what is required before you start. You are not permitted to take any form of notes into the examination room. Plan your time wisely and write as quickly and neatly as you can. Make sure that you watch the time to ensure that you finish in time. If time permits, read through your answers to pick up possible mistakes. Then you must also make sure that you have answered all the questions. And very important, the paper is set up so that you write on the paper itself. The quantity of the lines given will also help you to determine the length of your answer. Also look at the marks allocated to each question to determine how many facts to write to obtain the correct marks. Your study guide consists of 4 units. The references are done according to the Kindle, as all the students have the Kindle. English Handbook and Study Guide by B. Lutheran for DPPE, ACSE, ACPE, BSP students. The core topics for the units in the study guide. In Unit 1, you will find the general and academic listening skills. 1.1, is good listening skills in general and social situations. 1.2 is non-verbal cues in listening comprehension. For example, intonation, personal space, gestures, intonation and emphasis. 1.3, listening for note-taking in academic situations. For example, listening for purpose, meaning, structure, details, main points, opinions, facts and conclusions. In Unit 2, you will find the general and academic reading skills. 2.1 will be the value of reading a lot, importance and benefits of reading. 2.2 are the features of a competent reader. 2.3, the role of grammar and vocabulary in effective reading. 2.4, the importance of language in effective teaching and learning. 2.5, the comprehension of the written texts. 2.6, reading techniques, which are skimming and scanning. 2.7 is how to read texts, papers or magazines critically. 2.8, how to read tests and examination papers. And 2.9, the proper use of a dictionary and a thesaurus. For the examination, you can concentrate on the following. All students must use the references according to the new IOL study guide for DJPE, EACS, BES, EACS, and DSE, EACS11. References in brackets are for DPPE, ACPE, ACSE, and BESP students only. Features of a competent reader in 2.2. 2.7, how to read the text of magazine articles critically, goals of critical reading, and 2.6, how to read tests and examination papers, the proper use of a dictionary and a thesaurus, and that one is in Lutheran on page 60. And in Unit 3, you will find the general and academic English speaking skills. 3.1 is the pronunciation of English words. 3.2 is the compiling of a glossary of 50 new words and their meanings per semester. 3.3 is the basic interpersonal communication skills. 3.4, oral etiquette in the following situations: telephone conversations, participation in meetings, interviews, etc. 3.5 is the use of the W questions for gathering information. And 3.6, the common law guidelines for managing or chairing group discussions. For the examination, you can concentrate on the following: oral etiquette in the following situations: telephone conversations, warnings, apologies and conditions, types of effective communication with learners in the classroom, colleagues, heads of department, school principals and parents. Unit 4, linguistic constructs. 4.1 is the levels of language. 4.2, you'll find the parts of speech, which are the nouns, the verbs, the pronouns, the adjectives, the adverbs and the prepositions. 4.3 are the idioms, the abbreviations and animal sounds. 4.4, the conjunctions. And 4.5, synonyms and antonyms, homonyms and homophones. For the examination, you must be able to study the English Handbook and Study Guide by B. Lutheran, only for DPPE, ACSE, ACPE, and BSP students in brackets. 4.2.1.8, the diminutive forms, which indicates the smallness. Lutheran, page 25. You must be able to change the word in brackets into the diminutive form. For example, cock to cockerel, butterfly to caterpillar. 4.2.1.9 and also in Lutheran, page 22, are the plural forms. You will be asked to change sentences from the singular form into the plural form. For example, the boy kicks the ball on the grass. And these changes to the boys kick their balls on the grass. The word grass does not have a plural form, and therefore it stays grass. 4.2.2.5 is active or passive voice, and it's in Lutheran on page 32. You have to change sentences either into the passive or active voice. 4.3.1 are the idioms of figurative speech, and you will find it on Lutheran page 56. You will have to construct or make your own sentences with given idioms. 4.5.2 antonym in Lutheran page 52. You will have to give the antonym of a given word. The tenses. You will be asked to change sentences into the simple past tense, present tense, future tense. And there you can see the learning activity 4.13 for example sentences, also found in Lutheran on page 28. Exam preparation and writing tips. The exam timetable. Make sure you know in which room your exams will be in and what time they start. Consult your IOL office for those details and not the subject tutor. During the examination, write your details as requested. Read the exam paper a couple of times to make sure you understand the instructions and the questions. Make sure you answer all the questions. Do not dive into writing without first reading the entire paper. And calculate how much time you will give to each question and stick to it. Emergencies. If you happen to fall ill during the exam session, immediately notify the invigilator for correct action to be taken. General. Obtaining high marks in your assignment does not guarantee high marks in the examination. You now have to make sure you know the content of the assignment and other information from the study guide very well to do well in the coming examination. Make sure that you have all the information you get from the contact sessions and the feedback of the assignments. You will find very important and useful information through these sources. Please study hard for the upcoming examination to be successful. If you need my help on something, contact me on my email address below. This way I can give you a well-structured answer. I wish you all of the best. Mrs. Nieuwoud, and my email address is cloter@afol.com.na.